Hey, it's Steve here at the Soggy Bottom Farm. Man, I left off talking about how I'm going to be able to steer this lawnmower. You know, I don't want to sit on the thing while it's digging a ditch. I thought I said that maybe this would be the next thing that we would attempt to accomplish, is how to steer this lawnmower. But I can't get past the being able to control the depth of this rototiller. You know, if this lawnmower is going up over a crawdad hole, crayfish, I don't want that tiller to go up and down as this wheel is going up and down. I want that tiller to stay at the bottom of a level I'm determining. And I've looked through all my junk, and I've taken everything I know, and I've just thought about it and thought about it. Rack and pinions, you name it, I've thought about it. And I've come to the conclusion the only way that I can control the level of that tiller, the depth of my ditch, is with this old windshield wiper motor from a 1994 Pontiac Sunbird. I'm going to be honest with you. I have a tendency to hold on to some garbage. I hoard imaginations. And so this was part of a dream I had, to rotate a fan back and forth from my little shop, and I never did anything about it. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. Not destroy it, but just use it to control the level of this rototiller. And then we can take it back off after we've dug the perfect ditch, and we can go ahead and put it back in the hoard. We'll put him right back here next to the old rack and pinion from an old treadmill. He's over here in a bucket with another gearbox I've been holding on to for 10 or 15 years, waiting for something to do with it. And we won't waste anything. We'll just keep building with what we got. So I'm going to get this thing positioned on the inside of that wall. All you're going to see is this shaft sticking out. It's a 12-volt motor. I'm packing around a brand new, well, I will be a brand new 12-volt battery. Be easy enough to suspend a lightweight switch onto a level line and bump this motor up and down. You know, all we got to do is hold the position of this arm. So I'm thinking I'll put a cam on here, a big round piece of metal that is drilled off center, and turn it into a cam that will affect this piece of metal moving in that direction. And I think we can do this with this motor and, you know, some imagination and a switch. I don't know how much rotational torque something like that can take, but we'll try and create a shearing pressure on it. We'll find out what the radius of this guy is, and we'll mount it within the radius so that we at least have somewhat of a fighting chance of trying to shear it rather than rotate it and damage it that way. Got to make something to go on the end of it. It's got a square and some radiuses. I don't know if I got the tooling for my milling machine or not, but we'll get something butched together. Hang in there. When you come back, that thing will be on there. Man, I got that windshield wiper motor attached to this plate here. Stack some washers up, some spacers, and you know, everything's going to work out pretty good. I shouldn't have any trouble at all with getting that guy put back in there. While I got this thing off here, I might as well go ahead and take care of some of these lubrication points. You know, this machine's been around a long time. I don't want to be the guy that brings this thing to its death. I've been boiling that battery quite a bit, and the acid is really playing a toll on this metal. So I'm going to paint this thing with some WD-40. So when I get myself a new battery, you know, we'll take this thing off and I'll clean this plate up here and maybe even put a little paint on it. If this thing works out okay, I'm going to be quite fond of it. I want to take better care of it. Stick around. Some exciting things on the way. I got that plate butched up there with a couple of bolts. So it's going to be in that position. We can take some measurements now. I got that tiller sitting on the ground. We'll just say that's 0. It's at the same level that the tires are. I don't know about the angle, but the same plane. And this is where my arm is, with tension on the cable. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a flat spot on that windshield wiper motor. I'm going to make a circle that has the diameter a little bit bigger than this. And then I can rotate that circle like a cam and allow that arm to go forward. That tiller, if you look at that ditch, it does have a tendency to want to go down and add to the gravity that's already being felt by it. Hopefully, as it's bouncing and stuff, I can rotate this cam and dictate the position of this arm and keep the height of that floating based on the weight of this arm. That ought to be pretty easy to do. But before I get that plate completely mounted, I got to get some wiring attached to that thing. We're going to have to make a switch that comes out of the side of this mower. And, you know, if it's just sitting on top of a piece of line, right? Then as the mower goes up and down, the switch will be doing this. Then some contacts back here could make the motor rotate clockwise and counterclockwise and dictate where that handle stops. Thus, where the bottom of that tiller is going to be. That way the mower can do whatever it wants. The tiller will be dictated by the string, wire, whatever we use. Let's see how it goes. Got to make a switch now. You know, that's the second time I found that bolt sitting on the ground. It keeps coming out of this loop right here. I'm going to have to get a shorter bolt or reroute this cable here before we calibrate our depth gauge. That nonsense ain't going to work. It won't be exact, but I think if we find something that's a minimum of 4 inches in diameter, it'll be a good starting point. Let's dig around. Let's go shopping. Man, you're almost suspect. Man, I'm going to keep you in mind. I'm going to try as hard as I can to reclaim the center of this old water wheel. Man, I just wanted to get an end mill. That's all. Look at this nonsense. Frickin' ants. Tough living out here in the country, fellas. Man, I sure hope you can see that with the sun, but I got that windshield wiper motor mounted behind this disc that used to support the spindles of a water wheel. You can see it's mounted off center, so if I rotate that motor and allow that disc to go counterclockwise, that handle is going to come forward and it's going to let that tiller go down. Let me start this battery charger hook up this little wire right here, and we're going to go and reverse the polarity or reverse the direction of this motor and see what's going on with that handle. That thing ain't as loose as it could be. Now that handle can go all the way to there. There's a bolt in the way right here. But once it's all settled in place and it's working, I think we can get away with doing this. See, the vibration of that tiller will allow that thing to pick up, and it'll slowly, you know, if that thing's vibrating, and I put a little pressure on it, see, it's slowly going to work its way back and adjust its own depth. I'm going to stick with this right here for right now. I'm going to figure out a way to make a switch. Like I said, suspend it off of a piece of wire. And all it'll do is reverse the polarity of that motor and move that cam, allowing that tiller to go up and down based on a line that's not attached to this lawnmower. That's where I'm headed next. Hang in there. We're going to dig a beautiful ditch with a front tine tiller mounted on a lawnmower and a bunch of junk. I'm Steve, the Salty Paul-Tard. I'm out. Man, you know, if I mounted that idle pulley onto that disc, I could add a bearing to this thing and direct some of that force back towards the center of this shaft rather than trying to rotate this disc. I'm going to put that idle pulley on here somewhere and let it help me. Use it leverage wise or something. You put enough thought into it, you'll figure it out sooner or later. Man, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, looking at all these holes and everything, if you had this thing in or out, you would affect the speed of this tiller raising up and down. All this stuff I think about. Anyways, we'll get it done.